The chandeliers cast shadows across Emma's borrowed dress, pink silk that didn't belong to her, money that wasn't hers. Conversations about yachts and vacation homes swirling around her like smoke. She couldn't breathe through. She needed to leave. The exit was 20 feet away when he appeared, tall, expensive navy suit, dark hair slightly messy like he'd been running his hands through it. Green eyes locked on hers with something close to panic. "Please help me." Emma froze. "What?" "I need you to pretend we're together." His voice was low, urgent. "Just for a few minutes." She should have walked away, should have laughed, should have done anything except stare at this stranger who looked like he belonged in a magazine. "Those women over there," he nodded toward. "Two older ladies in diamond necklaces. They've been hunting me all night, setting me up with nieces, cousins, daughters. I just need to breathe." Something in his eyes was real, raw, desperate in a way that money couldn't hide. "Okay," Emma heard herself say. Relief broke across his face like sunrise. He guided her to a corner by the tall windows, his hand barely touching her elbow. "Gentle, careful, thank you." He exhaled hard. "I'm James Thornhill, Emma Caldwell. Do people always chase you at parties? Only when everyone thinks they know what's best for my life?" He looked tired suddenly, older than his features suggested. "I've been a widower for 3 years. Apparently that makes me available for every matchmaking scheme in the city. I'm sorry about your wife. Thank you." He studied her face now, really looking. "Yeah, you don't seem like you want to be here either." Emma laughed, surprised by the sound. "Is it that obvious? My cousin got married? I ended up at a reception where everyone speaks a language I don't understand. I was escaping when you found me, so we're both refugees." His smile changed everything. Made him look less like a millionaire and more like a person. "What do you do when you're not attending weddings you hate?" he asked. "I work at a bakery, Sunrise Bakery on Maple Street." Emma's face brightened. "I'm an assistant, but I help decorate cakes and create recipes. It's not glamorous, but I love it. There's something magical about making things that bring people joy." James leaned in, actually interested. It's not the polite interest people faked at parties, but real attention that made Emma's heart beat faster. "Last week, I designed a birthday cake shaped like a castle. Edible glitter towers. The little girl cried when she saw it. Happy tears." Emma's eyes sparkled with the memory. "That's what makes it worthwhile. You must be talented." James looked captivated. "My daughter Sophie loves castles and princesses. She'd adore something like that." "How old is she?" 10. "She's with my mother tonight." His expression softened in a way that made Emma's chest ache. "She's the best thing in my life." After her mother passed, we had to figure out how to be a family of 2. Some days are harder than others. It must be incredibly difficult. Sophie's stronger than I am sometimes." James paused. "Do you have children?" "No, not married. No kids. Just me and my tiny apartment and my sourdough starter I've kept alive for 2 years. Simple sounds perfect right now." He glanced around the ballroom with something like weariness. "Everything in my world is complicated. Meetings, expectations, maintaining appearances. Sometimes I forget what real conversations feel like." They talked for 40 minutes. James loved old mystery novels, missed cooking homemade meals. Emma had learned to bake from her grandmother, dreamed of opening her own bakery someday, believed kindness mattered more than money. When the reception began ending, James seemed reluctant to let the moment go. "Emma, this is going to sound strange, but can I stop by your bakery sometime? I'd love to try your creations. You really want to visit a small bakery on Maple Street? It's nothing fancy." "Fancy is overrated." He pulled out his phone. "May I have your number? In case I get lost." Emma hesitated only a moment before sharing it as they said goodbye. His hand briefly touched hers, warm, promising. Walking to her car, Emma couldn't stop smiling. She'd dreaded every moment of tonight, and somehow she'd met someone who made her feel seen. She drove home through quiet streets, heart lighter than it had been in months. Sometimes the most unexpected encounters became the most meaningful. Emma didn't know it yet. But her life was about to change in ways she couldn't imagine. All because a desperate man asked her to pretend, just for a few minutes. 3 days later, the bell above the bakery door chimed. Emma looked up from decorating cupcakes. James Thornhill walked in, And behind him, a man in a dark suit Emma didn't recognize. James's face was pale. His eyes weren't warm anymore. They were terrified. "Emma," he said quietly, "we need to talk." The smell of vanilla and sugar hung in the air. Emma's hands were covered in buttercream frosting. James stood in the doorway of Sunrise Bakery like he was afraid to come closer. The man behind him was stone-faced, watching. "Emma." James's voice cracked. "Can we talk somewhere private?" Her heart hammered. "Who's that?" "Security, please. Just 5 minutes." Emma wiped her hands on her apron, led them to the small back office. Flour dust on every surface, a desk covered in recipe cards. The tiny space suddenly felt suffocating. James closed the door, leaned against it like his legs might give out. "I lied to you." Emma's stomach dropped. "What? At the reception?" "I didn't just need to escape matchmakers." He ran his hands through his hair, that same gesture from 3 nights ago, but this time it looked like desperation. "I needed someone nobody knew. Someone clean. Someone real. I don't understand. My business partner is stealing from our company. Millions I've known for weeks, but I couldn't prove it." James's green eyes were bloodshot. "He has people watching me. At that wedding, 2 of his associates were there. I needed to look like I was doing something normal, meeting someone." Being distracted, Emma stepped back. "So you used me?" "Oh God, no." James moved forward, stopped himself. "It started that way. But when we talked, when you told me about the castle cake and your grandmother in your dreams, that was real. Everything I felt was real. You're a liar, I know." His voice broke. "But I'm telling you the truth now, because you're in danger." The words hung in the air like smoke. Cold. Heavy. "What? Marcus? My business partner? He saw us together that night. He thinks you're important to me now." James's hands were shaking. "He's going to use you to get to me, to keep me quiet." Emma's legs felt weak. "This is insane. I know. I know how this sounds. But please, Emma, you have to believe me." He pulled out his phone, showed her photos, bank transfers, emails, messages between his business partner and people Emma didn't recognize. "I'm going to the FBI tomorrow, but until then, you need protection." "I don't want protection. I want you to leave, Emma, please." "No." Her voice was steel now, anger burning through the fear. "You came into my bakery. You made me feel special. You talked about your daughter like I mattered, and it was all a performance. It wasn't. Sophie is real. Everything I told you was true." James's eyes were wet. "I just left out the part where my life is falling apart, where I'm terrified every second, where I've been lying to everyone for months trying to gather evidence. Get out, Emma. Get out." James stared at her for a long moment. Something in his face crumbled. He nodded slowly, pulled a card from his pocket, set it on her desk. "That's my head of security. His name is David. He'll be watching your apartment, your bakery. Won't see him, but he'll be there." James's voice was hollow now. "I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I never meant for you to get pulled into this." He left. The bakery bell chimed. Emma stood in the tiny office, staring at the business card on her desk. Her hands were still shaking. She wanted to cry, wanted to scream, wanted to pretend the last 3 days never happened. But she couldn't, because underneath the anger, underneath the betrayal, there was something else. The memory of James's smile when she talked about the castle cake, the way his voice softened when he mentioned his daughter, the warmth in his eyes that night at the reception. Real or performance? She didn't know anymore. Emma picked up the business card, turned it over in her fingers. Her phone buzzed. Unknown number. She shouldn't answer. She answered, "Hello," heavy breathing on the other end. Then a man's voice, smooth, cold. "Emma Caldwell, the baker. How charming." Her blood turned to ice. "Who is this?" "A friend of James Thornhill. He didn't tell you about me, did he?" Typical. James always was selfish with his secrets. The voice laughed, low and cruel. "Here's what's going to happen. You're going to call James. You're going to tell him you believe him. You're going to get close to him again." "Why would I do that?" "Because if you don't, that pretty little bakery of yours is going to burn down with everyone inside." Line went dead. Emma dropped the phone. Her whole body was shaking now. This wasn't real. This couldn't be real. But the threat echoed in her mind. Cold. Certain. She grabbed her phone again, dialed the number on James's card. David speaking. This is Emma Caldwell. Someone just called me. Threatened me. Said they'd burn down my bakery. Silence. Then, stay where you are. I'm 2 minutes away. The line clicked off. Emma sank into her desk chair, stared at the recipe cards, the flour dust, the world she'd built with her own hands, everything. Felt fragile now, like it could all disappear in flames. The bakery bell chimed. Again, Emma's head snapped up. A woman walked, in elegant, expensive coat, dark hair pulled back tight. She smiled, but her eyes were empty. You must be Emma. James told me so much about you. Emma stood slowly. Who are you? His late wife's sister. The woman's smile widened. And Marcus's fiancé? I think we need to have a conversation. About the man you're falling for. The woman's. Heels clicked against the bakery floor. Sharp, deliberate Emma. Felt trapped behind the counter. My name is Victoria. She looked around the bakery like she was evaluating property. This is quaint. Very you, I imagine. What do you want? To warn you? Victoria's eyes met Emma's, cold blue. James Thornhill is not who you think he is. I don't think he's anyone. I barely know him.
Don't lie.
I saw how he looked at you at that reception. The same way he looked at my sister before he destroyed her. Victoria's voice was poison sweet. Did he tell you how she died? Emma's throat tightened. He said she passed away 3 years ago. Passed away. Victoria laughed, bitter. That's one way to phrase it. She killed herself, Emma. Pills and vodka in their bathtub while Sophie slept down the hall. The words hit like a fist. Emma gripped the counter. My sister Catherine was vibrant. Beautiful. Full of life. Then she married James. Victoria stepped closer. His business consumed him. His ambition. His need to prove something. He was never home. Never present. She begged him to slow down, to see what he was doing to their family. He promised he would. He never did. That's horrible, but she left a note. Do you want to know what it said? Victoria pulled out her phone, showed Emma a photo of handwritten words. I can't compete with your empire. I was never enough. Emma felt sick. James found her. He called 911. He cried at her funeral. He played the devastated widower perfectly. Victoria's smile was cruel now. But he never changed. He's still chasing deals, building his empire, using people. And now he's using you. Told me about the embezzlement. About Marcus, did he? Victoria tilted her head. Did he tell you that Marcus tried to warn him about his workaholic behavior? That Marcus was Catherine's friend, someone who actually showed up for family dinners and Sophie's school plays? That James hated him for it? Emma's head was spinning. Marcus is a good man trying to save that company from James's reckless decisions. And now James is framing him for theft because he can't admit his own failures. Victoria's voice softened, almost gentle. You seem sweet, genuine. Don't let James Thornhill ruin you the way he ruined my sister. Why are you telling me this? Because I saw something in you at that reception. Kindness. The kind Catherine had before James drained it out of her. Victoria touched Emma's hand briefly. Walk away. Before it's too late. She left. The bell chimed. Emma stood alone in the bakery, surrounded by the smell of sugar and the weight of Victoria's words. Her phone buzzed. James, please call me. I need to explain. Emma stared at the message. Then, at the recipe cards on the wall. Her grandmother's handwriting. Simple, honest, real. Everything in her life had been simple, till 3 days ago. She called James. Emma, thank God. His voice was ragged. David told me someone threatened you. I'm so sorry. I never wanted. Did your wife kill herself? Silence. Heavy. Suffocating. Yes. Emma closed her eyes. Why didn't you tell me? Because it's the worst thing that ever happened to me. Because I wake up every morning knowing I failed her. Because telling you would mean admitting, I'm not the man I pretended to be at that reception. His voice cracked. I wanted you to see someone worth knowing, not the wreckage I actually am. Victoria came to see me. Of course she did. James sounded exhausted. What did she tell you? That you worked yourself to death? That you ignored Catherine? That she begged you to change and you didn't? It's all true. Emma's breath caught. What? Every word Victoria said is true? I was obsessed with building the company, proving I could come from nothing and create something that mattered. I missed dinners, missed bedtimes, missed signs that Catherine was drowning. His voice was barely a whisper now. I killed my wife, Emma, not with my hands, but with my absence, my priorities, my selfishness. James, but Victoria didn't tell you the rest. She didn't tell you that after Catherine died, I sold half the company, cut my hours in half, started therapy, learned to cook so I could have dinner with Sophie every night, started reading her bedtime stories again, started living instead of just working. He was crying now. Emma could hear it, could never bring Catherine back. I can never undo what I did. But I became a different man because losing her broke something in me that needed to break. And Marcus hates me for it. Why? Because when I changed, I saw what he was doing. Skimming money, making deals under the table, using the company I built for his own gain. James's voice hardened. Catherine trusted him. So did I. That's how we got away with it for so long. Victoria said he was framing you. Victoria's in love with Marcus. Has been for years. She'll say anything to protect him. James exhaled slowly. I'm not asking you to trust me, Emma. I know I don't deserve that. But I'm begging you to be careful. These people are dangerous. I don't know what's real anymore. No. I'm sorry. Emma heard Sophie's voice in the background, young, bright, asking about dinner. James's voice changed when he answered. Her, soft, present, the voice of a father who showed up. Maybe people could change. Maybe they couldn't, Emma. James was back on the line. I have to go. But please, keep David's number. Stay safe. And if you never want to see me again, I understand. He hung up. Emma stood in the empty bakery, two versions of the same. Man in her mind, the workaholic who destroyed his wife, the changed father who learned to be present. Which one was real? Her phone buzzed again. David, white van, outside your apartment. Watched you leave this morning? Plates are stolen. I'm following it now. Then another message from an unknown number. A photo. Emma's apartment building, her window, and text below. Last chance to cooperate. Call James. Get close. Or everyone you love burns. Emma's hands shook. She dialed James. I'll do it, she said when he answered. I'll help you. But not because of the threats. Then why? Because I need to know the truth. About you. About Marcus. About all of it. Emma's voice was steel now. And because if someone's going to burn down my life, I want to understand why. Emma, I'm meeting you tomorrow. Your office. You're going to show me everything. Every piece of evidence. Every lie. Every truth. She was shaking, but her voice didn't waver. And then I'm deciding who's the monster here. Okay, James whispered. Okay? Emma hung up. She locked the bakery door, turned off the lights, stood in the darkness, surrounded by the ghosts of sugar and flour. Tomorrow, she'd walk into James, Thornhill's world, and she'd find out if he was a man learning to be better, or a man who destroyed everything he touched. But tonight, alone in her bakery, Emma realized something terrifying. She didn't know which answer she was hoping for. James's office was glass and steel. 32nd floor. City sprawling below like a kingdom. Emma felt small in her bakery clothes, flour still under her fingernails. He looked worse than yesterday. Shadows under his eyes. Tie loose, human. Thank you for coming. Emma didn't sit. Show me. James opened his laptop, turned it toward her. Numbers, transactions, emails between Marcus and offshore accounts. recorded phone calls, months of evidence laid bare. This is everything. I've been building this case since January. His voice was flat, professional. Marcus has been embezzling for 2 years. Started small. Got confident. Started taking millions. Emma scrolled through the files, her hands steady even though her heart was racing. Why not just go to the police? I did. They said I needed more. Marcus has connections. Lawyers. He'd bury it in litigation for years. James ran his hand through his hair. The FBI will move faster. But I needed ironclad proof. One mistake, and he walks. And me. Where do I fit? James's face crumbled. You don't. You shouldn't. This was never supposed to touch you, but it did. Emma turned to face him. Did you mean what you said at the reception? About Sophie. About forgetting what real conversations feel like. Every word? Then why didn't you just tell me the truth that night? Because I'm a coward. James stood, moved to the window. City lights reflecting in the glass. Because for 40 minutes, I got to be someone normal. Someone who could meet a woman at a wedding and just talk. Someone who wasn't drowning in evidence of his best friend's betrayal. Marcus was your best friend? Since college, he was at my wedding. Sophie's godfather. Catherine loved him. James's voice broke. After she died, he helped me. Brought groceries. Watched Sophie when I couldn't. I trusted him with everything. And he stole from you. Stole from everyone. Employees, investors, people who believed in what we built. James turned to face her. But the worst part? I think he's been planning this since Catherine died. Using my grief, my distraction, my guilt. Emma felt something shift in her chest. Understanding, terrible and clear. You blame yourself for more than Catherine's death. I blame myself for not seeing what was right in front of me. For being so consumed by grief that I let Marcus destroy everything we've built together. James's eyes were wet. I'm good at missing what matters, Emma. It's my specialty. That's not true, isn't it? I met you 3 days ago and I've already put you in danger. Already dragged you into something that could get you hurt. Already proved that I'm stop. Emma stepped closer. You warned me. You sent security. You told me the truth when you could have kept lying. That's not the man Catherine knew. You don't know that. But I know the man who talks about his daughter like she's the son. Who showed up at my bakery, even though it was dangerous? Who looks at me like I matter? Emma's voice cracked. I know that man, and he's not a monster. James stared at her. Emma, the door burst open. David rushed in, face pale. We need to move now. What happened? Marcus knows she's here. He's on his way up with Victoria and 2 security guards. David was already pulling Emma toward a side door. There's a service elevator. We can know. Emma pulled her arm free. I'm not running. Emma, these people threatened to burn down your bakery. They're not playing games. James grabbed her hand. Please, let us get you somewhere safe. Safe. Emma laughed, sharp and bitter. There is no safe. They know where I live, where I work. They'll find me anywhere. She looked at James. Lest we end this. Now, what are you suggesting? I'm suggesting I do what they asked. I get close to you. I find out what they really want. Emma's voice was steady now. I become the spy they think I already am. Absolutely not. James's grip tightened. I won't let you. It's not your choice. Emma met his eyes. It's mine, and I'm choosing to fight. The main door opened. Marcus walked in. Handsome, smooth. Smiling like he owned the world, Victoria was beside him. Cold, triumphant. James and the baker. How cozy. Marcus looked around the office. Having a nice chat about old times? Get out, Marcus. This is my company too. Or did you forget? Marcus moved closer to Emma. Caldwell. I hope James has been honest with you. He has such a talent for selective truth-telling. Told me you're stealing millions. Marcus laughed. Did he tell you why? There's no why that justifies Catherine asked me to. Marcus's smile disappeared. She came to me 6 months before she died. Begged me to hide money. Said she was planning to leave James and take Sophie. Said she needed a safety net. The words dropped like stones. Heavy, brutal. James went white. You're lying, am I? Asked Victoria. Catherine told her everything. Marcus's voice was gentle now. Poisonous. Your wife was going to leave you, James. She was going to take your daughter and disappear. And I was going to help her do it. That's not true. Why did I have access to all your accounts? Why did Catherine give me power of attorney? Why did she start moving money 6 months before her death? Marcus pulled out his phone, showed James documents. I have her signature, her emails, her plans. James's hands were shaking. She killed herself. She wouldn't have been planning to leave if she changed her mind at the last minute. Got scared? Thought maybe you'd change. Tori's voice was soft. She loved you, James. That's why she couldn't go through with it. But it's also why she couldn't live with staying. Emma watched James crumble. Watched the truth destroy him in real time. So I kept the money, Marcus continued. Considered it payment for the hell I went through watching my best friend's wife spiral. For being there when you weren't. For picking up the pieces you broke. You're still a thief. And you're still the man who killed his wife. Marcus stepped back. So here's what's going to happen. You're going to drop this FBI investigation. You're going to let the embezzlement go. And in exchange, I won't release Catherine's emails. The ones where she details every way you failed her. Every night you missed. Every promise you broke. You're blackmailing him. Emma's voice cut through the tension, protecting his daughter. Sophie doesn't need to know her mother was planning to leave. That her father drove her to it. Marcus looked at Emma. You seem smart. Tell him to take the deal. Emma looked at James, saw his face. Saw the guilt, the pain. The weight of every mistake he'd ever made crushing him. She thought of Catherine, of Sophie. Of a little girl who lost her mother and didn't know why. She thought of the castle cake, of happy tears. Of moments that made life worthwhile. She thought of James at the reception, desperate, real, human. No, Emma said. Excuse me? No, I'm not telling him to take your deal. Because you're lying. Emma stepped between Marcus and James. Catherine might have planned to leave. She might have given you access to accounts. But the embezzling? That's on you. You took advantage of a grieving man and his dying wife's desperation. You have no idea what you're talking about, don't I? I know what grief looks like. I know what guilt looks like. I know what real regret looks like. Emma looked at James. I know what love looks like when it's trying to be better. Marcus's face hardened. You're making a mistake. Maybe. But it's my mistake to make. Emma turned back to Marcus. Release whatever emails you want. Sophie deserves to know her mother was human. That she struggled. That she loved her, but was drowning. Emma's voice broke. But she also deserves to know her father learned. That he changed. That he became the man Catherine needed, too late, but still became him. Touching. Victoria's laugh was ice. And completely irrelevant. We're taking this to the press. Your precious FBI case will be buried in scandal. James's reputation will be destroyed. And you, little Baker, will be caught in the crossfire. And let it burn, Emma said. Marcus stared at her, then at James, then back to her. You're willing to lose everything for a man you've known for 3 days? I'm willing to fight for the truth. There's a difference. Marcus nodded slowly. Fine, but remember this moment. When your bakery is ash, when Sophie hates her father, when James is broke and broken, remember you chose this. You left. Victoria followed. The door closed. Silence filled the office like smoke. James looked at Emma. What did you just do? I don't know, Emma whispered. But I couldn't let him win. Not like that. He's going to destroy everything. Then we'll build something new. James stepped closer. Why? Why would you risk this for me? Emma looked up at him, saw the man who talked about his daughter, the man who showed up at her bakery, the man who was trying to be better, 'Cause everyone deserves a second chance, she said. Even people who've made terrible mistakes.
Oh, James kissed.
Her soft, desperate, grateful, and Emma kissed him back, knowing everything could fall apart, knowing they might lose. Knowing this was probably insane, but choosing it anyway, because sometimes love meant fighting, even when the fight was impossible. David cleared his throat. We need to move now, Marcus. We'll leak those emails within the hour. Emma pulled back. Then we have an hour. To do what? To tell our story first. Emma looked at James. You have evidence? I have a voice. Let's use both. James stared at her, then smiled. Small, broken, hopeful. Okay, he said. Let's fight. The FBI took Marcus into custody 48 hours after Emma walked into James's office. The evidence was overwhelming. Years of theft, forged documents, money laundering. But Marcus kept his promise. Catherine's emails went public. Every word, every plan, every moment of desperation and doubt the media tore. James apart. Headlines screamed about the workaholic banker whose wife planned to leave him. About suicide and secrets and corporate scandals. About a man who failed everyone who trusted him. Emma's bakery was vandalized 3 days later. Windows smashed. Walls spray-painted with words like homewrecker and gold digger. She arrived at dawn to find glass glittering on the floor like broken stars. James was already there, sweeping his expensive suit jacket discarded, shirt sleeves rolled up, hands bleeding from the glass. You don't have to do this, Emma said. Yes, I do. Kept sweeping. This is my fault. It's Marcus's fault. It's mine. James stopped, looked at her. Everything that's happened, Catherine, the embezzlement, your bakery. Sophie reading those emails and asking me if her mother hated her. All of it comes back to my choices. Emma stepped over the glass, took the broom from his hands, and make different choices now? What? Stop punishing yourself. Stop trying to fix the past. Emma's voice was firm. Start building something better. How? By showing up. By being present. By doing the hard work of being honest. She touched his face. By letting people see you're not perfect and loving you anyway. James pulled her close. They stood in the ruined bakery, glass crunching under their feet, morning light streaming through broken windows. I love you, he whispered. I don't know how that's possible. I don't deserve it. But I love you, I know. Emma kissed him softly. I love you too. Even though this is insane, even though we barely know each other, even though everyone thinks I'm crazy, you are crazy. So are you. They laughed. Small, broken, real. David appeared in the doorway. FBI wants another statement. Victoria's lawyers are pushing back. Sophie's therapist called. I'll be there. James squeezed Emma's hand. But first, I'm helping her clean this up. James, I said I'm helping. His voice was steel. Everything else can wait. David nodded. Left James and Emma spent the morning cleaning, sweeping glass, scrubbing paint, calling contractors. Melissa showed up with coffee, then Emma's co-workers, then customers who loved the bakery, then strangers who'd seen the news and wanted to help. By afternoon, the bakery was covered in people repairing what had been broken. Emma stood outside, watching, overwhelmed. A car pulled up. A little girl got out, 10 years old, dark hair, green eyes like her father. Sophie, she walked up to Emma, stood there for a long moment. Studying her, you're the baker, I am. My dad talks about you constantly. It's annoying. Sophie's voice was matter-of-fact. He says you make castle cakes. Sometimes. My mom wanted to leave us. Sophie's eyes filled with tears. Everyone at school knows. They think she hated me. Emma's heart broke. She knelt down. I level with this small, brave girl. She didn't hate you. She was drowning and didn't know how to swim. That's different. Emma took Sophie's hands. Sometimes people love us and still struggle. Sometimes they're in so much pain they can't see the good things right in front of them. It doesn't mean the good things don't matter. Did my dad hurt her? Yes, but not on purpose. He made mistakes, big ones, and he's sorry. Emma's voice was gentle. People can be sorry and still have caused harm. Both things can be true. Do you love him? Emma paused. Yes. Why? Everyone says he's a bad person. Everyone's wrong. He's a person who did bad things and is trying to do better. That's not the same as being bad. Emma smiled. Your dad shows up now. He cooks you dinner. He reads to you. He loves you more than anything. That's who he is today. And today is what matters. Sophie stared at her, then threw her arms around Emma's neck. Can you teach me to make castle cakes? Emma held her. This small girl carrying the weight of her mother's pain. Yes, whenever you want. James appeared in the doorway. Saw his daughter hugging Emma. His face crumbled, grief and gratitude mixing into something raw. Sophie pulled back. Dad, Emma's going to teach me to bake. Is she? Yeah, and I like her. So you can't mess this up. Sophie looked fierce. Seriously. Don't mess it up. I'll try not to. Actually, don't mess it up. Sophie crossed her arms. I mean it. James laughed. Real light. Yes, ma'am. Sophie went inside to look at the damage. James walked over to Emma. Thank you, he said quietly. For what you told her, it's the truth. Still, thank you. He looked at the bakery. At the people helping, at his daughter, laughing with Melissa inside, at Emma, standing in front of him, covered in paint and exhaustion. I don't know how to do this. Build something real. Be the person people deserve. No one does. We all just try. Emma leaned against him. And when we fail, we apologize. We learn. We try again. What if I keep failing? Then I'll be here to tell you to do better. Emma smiled. That's what love is. Seeing someone's worst and choosing them anyway, calling them on their mistakes, and staying through the work of fixing them. Wow, James kissed the top of her head. I don't deserve you. Probably not. But you're stuck with me anyway. They stood there, in front of a vandalized bakery. In the aftermath of scandal and betrayal and pain, two broken people choosing each other. It wasn't a fairy tale ending. Emma's bakery took months to fully repair. James lost major clients. Victoria and Marcus fought the charges for 2 years before finally going to prison. Sophie struggled with her mother's emails. Therapy. Bad days. Questions nobody could answer. But James showed up every morning. Every setback. Every moment it would have been easier to run. He showed up, and Emma taught him to bake. Taught Sophie to decorate cakes. Opened a second location with James as her silent partner. Built something beautiful from the ashes. 1 year later, Emma stood in the kitchen of Sunrise Bakery, decorating a castle cake. Edible glitter towers. Sophie beside her, tongue sticking out in concentration. James walked in. Still in his work suit, but home before dinner like he promised. How's it looking? Perfect. Sophie beamed. This girl is going to cry happy tears. That's the goal. Emma smiled at James. You're early. I left a meeting. Told them, family comes first. He kissed Emma's cheek, because it does. Sophie made a gagging sound. Gross. Do that somewhere else. They laughed. Later that night, after Sophie was asleep, James and Emma sat on the balcony of his apartment. City lights stretching forever. Do you ever regret it? James asked quietly. That night at the reception, saying yes when I asked for help. What? Emma thought about it. About everything that came after. The pain, the scandal, the broken glass and broken trust. About Sophie's laugh. About James learning to be present. About castle cakes and second chances. Oh, she said finally. Not even for a second. Even knowing what you know now. Especially knowing what I know now. Emma took his hand. You asked me to pretend for a few minutes. Instead, I got something real. Something worth fighting for. Something that changed my whole life. Changed mine too.
Oh.
James pulled her close. You saved me, Emma, from myself, from my guilt, from drowning in what I couldn't fix. You saved yourself. I just stood there and watched you do the work. Oh, you did more than watch. You stayed. When everyone else left, you stayed. His voice broke. That's everything. Emma kissed him. Soft. Sure. Complete. They sat there under the stars. Two people who met by accident and chose each other on purpose. Who found love in the wreckage. Who built something beautiful from broken pieces. It wasn't perfect, but it was real. And real was enough. Sophie's voice called from inside. Dad, can Emma tell me about the castle cake tomorrow? James smiled. She's supposed to be asleep. When is she ever? Emma laughed. They went inside. To Sophie. 2 bedtime stories. To the ordinary magic of showing up. To the life they built together, one choice at a time, one day at a time, one castle cake at a time. And it was enough. More than enough. It was everything. The end.